All right. So I guess now you understand what the plan was.
Absolutely. At Colts Law, we talk Indianapolis Colts football.
We're going to stick to what we know, fundamentals and technique, 1% better every day.
What's going on, Colts Nation? I'm Lawrence Owen, as usual, with me, my co-host, Loyalist. And we were just a hair late because Loyalist was having a little bit of problems again, but we got it all sorted out. That's awesome. Want to shout out to those who are already in here. Toxic Brandon, Alpha, Truett, what's up? Appreciate you sitting there waiting on me. And I can't express how much I appreciate that. Loyalist looking at, I don't, was it your wife? Your son?
No, I'm sorry. Get out.
It's all good.
Take it with you. Sorry, guys.
No.
To switch phones. I had to switch phones, so that phone was still turned on. I didn't want to feed in on the show.
It's all good. Hello, whoever was in the room. I appreciate your help. It's great, man. We all bust our butts to bring out content, and sometimes things go wrong, and it happens. But, man, here in just, 3 hours, we got ourselves a second preseason game coming up. But before I do that, before I get into that, I uploaded a video. I don't know if you guys seen it or not. If you did, awesome. But I'm going to play it right here so you can see, because it's an announcement. It's a big announcement. It's the announcement I've been holding for a week, but I posted it. I've got a brand new podcast, and I'm going to be putting these videos on my channel, but it'll be on a different playlist. It'll be on that podcast playlist. But let me go ahead and show you the intro for that's coming up. What's going on, Colts Nation? I'm Lawrence Owen, and this is Believe in Colts, part of the Believe Podcast Network. And we're going to be covering the Indianapolis Colts the entire 2021 NFL season. I can't wait, man. Can you wait? Because I can't wait. A little bit about myself. I've been a Colts fan since '84, right? I've been covering the Indianapolis Colts for the last 6 years. Started out writing articles. Then I got into audio podcasting. Did that for a while. Gave that up because I got into the video part of things and started doing video streams. Then I got into a little bit of the film room breakdowns, checking out the All-22, looking at the pluses and the minuses of each individual player and schemes and things of that nature. Now, I am back with Believe, doing podcasting again. What? I can't wait to do this season. And you know what? It's only going to be even better. Why is that? Because I have a great, absolutely wonderful co-host joining me this season. Former Cleveland Brown linebacker and Pro Bowl Indianapolis Colts linebacker DeQuell Jackson will be here with us as well. That's right, DeQuell Jackson. Absolute stud of a linebacker for the Indianapolis Colts. He'll be here as we break down weekly the Indianapolis Colts. We're going to be talking about matchups. We're going to talking post game. We're going to be talking stories. We're going to be talking all sorts of stuff, and you are going to want to be there. Don't miss it. All right, because man, it's all about having fun, enjoying ourselves, and that's what we're here for. So make sure you give us a follow, because you're not going to want to miss a single episode. So until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. This is Believe in Colts. Have a good one. And that's that. So now that ain't going to change what's up here with Colts Law. Loyalist will still be with me. We will still be doing this stuff as well. But, I got hit up and it was too good to say no. So I'm doing both. All right. Lots of stuff going on. What's up? Hey, JD. What up? I was on JD JD's I-90 pod this morning, in case you guys missed it, and I had a blast. It was good talking with them. They're more of a like Patriots and Red Sox, and then they move over like Chicago and the Bulls and the Bears, the I-90 route, And I came on because they wanted to talk a little bit about Sam Ellinger and Jacob Eason and Carson Wentz, and so I joined them, talked with them for a little bit, gave some of my, I think they were a little bit surprised that I had, decent knowledge of other teams as well. But of course, you guys have no, it's no surprise to you. I actually follow the entire NFL, right? So I appreciate you guys being here. Thanks so much. Game is tonight. That's right, Ant. Appreciate you. Jody Durbin. Hey, what's going on? Guys, don't forget, please smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, tag that notification bell so that you are notified next time I go live or upload a video, and make sure all notifications are turned on because YouTube is crazy. Sometimes, I don't know if you've had like notifications turned on, but you've never notified. You got to make sure you click on there and say all notifications. Make sure they are all turned on while I smack my microphone. Because, it's weird like that. But let's get into the actual game tonight, man. How excited are you to actually see this game today, Loyalist?
I'm very excited. I mean, honestly, I'm sitting there. I've got 2 TVs now because I'm going to have one for the podcast for the YouTube stream, and then I've got another one that's going to have the game. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to listen to? And so, I've got a lot of different things I'm working out. I didn't get to do last week, as you guys know, because I was at the game. So now I've got to get my game routine figured out now with everything that I've delved into in the last year. So I'm very excited.
Absolutely, man. And we're going to see a lot different stuff than what we saw week 1. Week 1, we did not see any starters play. None. 0 on either side, right? We didn't see either side, Panthers or Colts starters play. This week, now obviously there's going to be a few starters that won't be playing. Carson Wentz still dealing with a foot injury. He ain't going to be playing. Quentin Nelson, same old, same situation as Carson Wentz. So, but they said a couple weeks ago, hey, they're going to flip Sam Ellinger and Jacob Eason this week. Ellinger's going to go in the first half. Eason's going to go in the second. We're going to get a good look. We're going to see how Ellinger handles that extra pressure, because we all know Eason had a little bit of a problem starting out early on because there was a ton of edge pressure. He got sacked 3 times, basically all in one first drive. It was 2 drives, but it was really, really quick. And then he settled in and kind of got a rhythm going and started playing very, very well. Whereas Ellinger in the second half, playing with and against 2s and 3s and 4s and guys that probably won't even make the teams, performed well outside of a couple throws, one of which turned into an interception. What are you going to be looking for with Sam Ellinger as he starts with the ones against the Minnesota Vikings today?
All right. For me, I mean, I want to make sure that Sam is, whenever he's choosing to run, that it's not too early. That, there's some plays that I felt like, just watching last weekend where it was like, man, if he just stayed in the pocket for just a little bit longer, the guy opened up, so I'm hoping that, that I see that he's willing to stay in the pocket until it's necessary. Secondly, honestly, I just want to see him build on what he did last week. Because like you said, he looked good. He looked good against the guys that he was playing against after he got the jitters out or whatever that was the first couple drives, So I just like to see him, be able to produce, maybe get active and see how he looks playing with some of these guys. Because even during camp and stuff, we've seen him run a little bit with the ones and stuff. But we still wasn't seeing a lot of T.Y. Hill. I didn't see a lot of connection between him and Paris Campbell and stuff. So interested to see how he connects and meshes with the other guys.
It's a good, interesting thought process there on what to watch for him. I'm going to shout out Alex Castillo. Appreciate you being here, KDC City. Wentz season, what up? Robert Reynolds. And Martin Hazel says, hey, I'm out here in Columbus. I'm not going to have a broadcast here. Have to wait till Tuesday to watch it. Do you have any suggestions? And the only suggestion I have is Game Pass, because the one thing that they're kind of making up for with the fact that, their all 22 is going to be gone, NFL Game Pass on NFL.com, you can watch all the preseason games live. Okay? It's like $100 a year. It's all up front. You have to pay $100. But, it's $100. It's an option. I'm just letting you know. I know it's a bit expensive to watch a game or two, on preseason, but that is what it is. Alpha says he has Game Pass. Yes, so do I. I didn't buy it to watch preseason games because you couldn't even watch live games with Game Pass in years past if you were here in the States. If you were outside the States, you could. But on the inside the States, the reason Game Pass was good is because you got to, break down all 22 film. You got that film that you could go with and use, and that's what I was using it for. So them to give this, it's kind of a little bit of a, we're sorry that we don't have this early this season, but it is. Wentz says, go grab that free trial. Wentz season, there is a 7-day free trial generally with Game Pass. So you could legitimately go try that and then, just make sure that you cancel beforehand if you don't want to pay that $100, but you wouldn't have that option next week. So that's a problem. But a couple options out there for you, my guy. I got to give you options. Martin is one of my guys who, just like Loyalist and many others in the chat, are part of my Patreon. They pay $5 a month and get all access to all of my stuff. Anything that I do, period, end of discussion, goes on Patreon. Plus, there's Patreon-specific content. There's live streams where, I'll drop the link to email to all of my patrons that say, hey, you come in, join the live stream if you want. Sit, talk, hang out with us. Let's talk football or whatever, you want to talk about your trip to Kings Island, go ahead. I don't care. Martin says,
also, I'd like to point out, if he does that Game Pass today, he will get to see next week's game because next week's game's on Friday. So he will get both of the preseason games.
He'll just have to make darn sure if he don't want to pay that $99 to cancel it immediately after the other preseason game. So there you go, Martin. He says he already pays a ridiculous amount for NFL ticket on DirecTV. They just don't carry preseason games, which seems kind of dumb. That'd be like not carrying postseason games. Be like, what? Martin says he's sorry he missed the last Patreon show. Wife and I snuck out for dinner for the first time in a long while. And hey, dude, real life. Happy wife, happy life, right? I hear that all the time, and I'm a fully big-time believer in that.
Just want to know, did you have a good time?
That's right. Did you enjoy yourself? Robert says, who are you? Oop, I got another one in there. Boy, this chat is moving. I might have to go to the chat later. But I am going to say, who are you guys thinking are going to show out as far as outside of Strawn? Okay, so from here on out, we're going to do like I normally do, okay? Loyalist and I are just going to discuss this game. If you want to make sure that you have a comment or a question that gets put up, make sure you use that link right down here in the description, top of the description for a super chat. And that'll guarantee your question or comment comes up, and we'll get to it as soon as possible. But I've only got about an hour, and then I have to bring the juice. So we're going to get into as much as we possibly can, all right? So we already talked about Sam Ehlinger, Loyalist, and I agree, about, not wanting him to jump out of the pocket too soon, move and scramble. I want him to not look so, jittery, right? Moving around too much. Eason in the second half, I got to see him explode. Because this time he's playing against guys, that aren't doing very well. And he's going to have guys like Mike Strawn, maybe. But, Vaughns, Black, Patman, guys like that's going to be out there because I think Michael Pittman's playing today. I think Paris might play. I'm not 100% sure. Pascal will probably play. T.Y. will probably play. At least sometime with Ellinger. I got to see Eason lift this second team up and do something very impressive. Otherwise, Ellinger has a chance of kind of moving above him a little bit. What do you think?
I mean, for me personally, it's sort of like we were in last week, except last week the comparison was a lot closer than what we're going to see this week. Because of the number of ones and stuff playing. But for me, if Easton goes out and plays solid ball and he maintains, we see a little bit more of a progression from what we saw last week. You know what I mean? And last week was pretty darn good. So if I see just a little bit more of that, I know, you want him to go out there and light it up. But we just don't do that during preseason. I mean, it just doesn't seem to be the Colts way. I'm more interested to see what Marlon Mack looks like. I'd like to see him, get out there and get a lot of run and stuff. And let's see, how he works whenever he gets that lather and stuff. But for Eason, just don't, don't do anything stupid. Don't go out there and try to, like he's said all training camp, one play at a time, one moment at a time, and just build on top of it.
Yeah, a couple things with Eason that I want to see progress in him.
Mm-hmm.
One, I want to see him not take so far a step backs on his drops. He takes very large. He's a big dude, okay? He's a very big dude, very tall, long legs. When he does his 7-step drops, it's like an 8-step drop for everybody else, right? And that makes it very difficult on the ends to try to protect him. So I want to see him take smaller steps or after he makes his drop back, step forward just a little bit every time he moves through his progression, right? If he sees his peripheral and there's an open pocket in front of him, use that to give himself a little bit more time. Just step up a little bit. That'll help your tackles out a little bit. It'll help with the pressure. Also, I want to see him ease up on that laser rocket cannon he has for passes under 10 yards from him, right? I don't want to see him put a wide receiver in concussion protocol. All right? I mean, it is what it is. The man's got a cannon, all right?
Yeah.
And I mean, there are times to use that cannon. And I am not, I'm not going to say I wish he didn't have it because it's an absolute trait that is a huge bonus, on his side. But sometimes you don't need to use it. If you got a guy who's got his alarm going off right in front of him while he's doing a live stream. Hold on. All right. If you got a guy who's, 5-10 yards away running a drag route and the guy's wide open, got a step or two on his guy, just lead him a little bit, throw it a little softer, right? Show some touch. I've seen that he can throw touch. We've seen him do it when he threw that ball to Paris Campbell. He lofted that bad boy. It still had good zip on it, but he used touch to get it right over the defender and right to where, he could catch it. So I want to see those two things out of Eason today.
I was thinking while you were talking also, I'm sort of interested because, I mean, our offensive line, by the time, the second half's getting out there, we don't know who's going to be playing at tackle or who's going to be playing outside. So I am interested to see how Jacob deals with that, how he moves out of the pocket. And, just see his thought process. Because we really haven't seen him, unless it's been a designed rollout or anything. During training camp, because he knows he's not going to get sacked, we haven't really seen him moving and like Sam does, run the ball up, take the 7-8 yard gain. Haven't seen that a whole lot. So that I have a feeling we'll probably get a chance to see. And I hope that, I hope that he comes out healthy, and I hope that that we get to see that he, because like I said during camp last week, he's got some speed. He's not, everybody compares him to Phillip Rivers, and get that out of your mindset because that's really not where he's at. He's just got this long stride and more of a methodical looking running style, So, but like I said, whenever he decides he wants to cut upfield, we saw in training camp that he can do it. So it'd be sort of cool to see some of that today, I guess.
So with Strawn, here's the thing with him today. Depending upon where he's playing, if he's playing with the ones and twos, I just want him to show up, get a couple catches, show that he's good. All right, show that he belongs there. If he's in the second half with Eason, in my opinion, I think Strawn should be the go-to guy every stinking time. I mean, really, if he cannot win consistently against 3s, 4s, 5s, defensive backs, way back there, then there's a problem, right? I mean, that's just he's not what we think he is if he can't do that. We saw last week where he was able to do some good stuff against the 2s and 3s, 4s, 5s. I want to see it again. And Eason's got, like we said, a strong arm, and he knows how to put the ball in a place where only Strawn can catch it. All right, that's something that is very important. He'll put that ball 8 feet above the ground. All right, 9 feet above the ground, 10 feet above the ground. Why? Because Strawn will go up and get that ball. Whereas, you got a 5'8" cornerback isn't going up to get a 10-foot pass that's been thrown like a rocket. But Strawn does it on a consistent basis, But there's other times in camp where we've seen Strawn get hit right between the numbers and just drop the ball. I don't want to see any of that this game at all.
Yeah, I would like to say that for Strawn as well as Grains. I just want to see him. If they're catchable passes, squeeze that pigskin. Make sure that that it doesn't hit the ground. That would be a big plus for today.
Alpha says Eason stepping up and not overthrowing routes. Now, I do want to say this about Eason. Eason will purposely overthrow a route barely, and there's a reason for that. Generally, he will place the ball where only the receiver can get it. He don't want to give the cornerback any shot at it generally, so he will put it right on the fingertips of an outstretched receiver. And it'll be he's giving the receiver a chance to make a play, right? Most of his throws, even when they're like overthrows, there's not someone past them that can make a play on the ball. That's why he's doing that. Most of his interceptions that I have noticed is in camp anyhow is like when Pascal fell down in mid route, as Eason was throwing it. Where there was a miscommunication in a route, where he threw it right through a receiver, threw it too hard, and it right out of his hands, tip ball, interception, that kind of stuff.
And that's been the type of stuff that we've seen go on to camp and stuff that he's really been cleaning up, and especially like everybody's been saying, he got that game time in last Sunday, and he's just been. I mean, a lot of that stuff has been cleaned up, and I think a lot of it's just based on getting that rust off, getting that nerves out, and just getting that confidence of, hey, I'm out here and I'm doing the right thing. And I just feel like he's trusting what he's seen more, and he's just committing to it a little bit.
Do you think it might be the reason why you see more confidence in Eason is because Leonard says this on a daily basis. He practices harder than he does, as hard as he plays during a game. And our defense is very fast, very physical. So do you think maybe the game is actually slower for him than practices are? And that just is, a huge plus in his cap right there, that he's going through?
I totally agree with that. I mean, we see those guys out there. And it just – the way our defense plays – and the way they swarm to things and the speed that they do it with, like you said, if he's able to compete out there against our linebackers and our secondary, and obviously our defensive line's been in his lap a little bit through camp, but he's handling the linebackers and the secondary and stuff. Like you said, he's going to go out to this game time and be like, oh, okay, because not a lot of defenses. I can think of two where they have that swarming nature, they have that high motor nature, and it's not like it's just Darius Leonard or Bobby Okereke. it's DeForest Buckner, Grover Stewart. I mean, just everybody just goes like, their hair's on fire. And, if you're practicing against that every day, I would have to imagine that game time's just more of, little pitch and catch game compared to what he deals with on the daily.
Yeah, I want to get into that defense in just a moment, but before I do that, guys, don't forget, you could find me on the Newsbreak app. There's a link in the description down below. I kind of need to play this, so watch this for about 30 seconds, and we'll be back talking about the defense. This video is sponsored by Newsbreak. Newsbreak is an app used over 1.5 billion times a month by people just like you to get local news via articles or videos by those who are focused on that specific area. People like myself. Just use the link in the description of this video to download it. Then search a city, state, or someone specific, like myself, Colts Law. Then make sure to follow them so you'll get all the news fresh as it comes out. As promised, we're going to talk about the defense like Alex is in here doing. Alex says, I want to see the defense get some sacks, not just pressures in this game. Last week, the defense had 1 sack, and it was a guy that none of us even had an idea. Really, we didn't really call his name in camp or nothing like that, but he had the 1 sack. It was a cleanup sack, but it was a sack nonetheless. Guys, this time, now I haven't seen or even know if the list of the starters who aren't going to be playing today, did the injury report come out saying who's going to be playing, who's not? Because
not to this point.
I heard that Teray might be one of those guys that might not play today. And that's going to suck because I really wanted to see what he could do against ones. But we have other guys on that defensive line that we're going to be able to see what they could do against the ones. And who are some of those guys?
Kwity Paye. Man, I cannot wait to see what this rook gets to do. I mean, because we sit there and we talk about how disciplined he is at training camp and how he just works on whatever it is he's working on. Well, that's not today. Today he's got one goal. And that's to get that quarterback. Mm-hmm. So now we'll get to see him and get to see him put together some of the stuff that he's learned over the last few weeks. Because, guys, I mean, I'm not trying to overblow this rookie thing. Man, I am really fired up to see this young kid get out there and just take his tenacity and his speed off the line and see who can handle it. And I think once he starts getting that rhythm, and I don't think his is a confidence thing. I just think he's just got to see it. He's just got to get the reps. And once he gets that, man, let's get it started today. New era of Kwity from the edge. I like it.
Well, Toxic says, and thanks for being in here, Toxic, says sacks makes pressures more credible. You know what else makes pressures credible? Incomplete passes, interceptions, running out of bounds, that kind of situation. Just broken plays, okay? You see broken plays. Pressure's one thing, but if they're able to get away from that pressure and make positive yard play, then that pressure didn't do what it needed to be done, right? So you want to see something happen out of those pressures. Yes, sacks are a number that is, stated with it. But, if you get a turnover, if you get an incomplete pass or make them run out of bounds 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and that will be listed as a sack sometimes, but depending upon how close the guy is to him when he ran him out of bounds. But like even a 2-yard run because of pressure. But I don't think you'll see a whole lot of that out of Kirk Cousins. Cousins isn't exactly known as the guy who's going to go out there and beat you with his feet, is he?
No, not at all. But and back to what you were saying, just get that chaos, get that useful chaos out there that just plays into the speed of our defense. Make them make decisions when they're not expecting to. That's when you're going to get your mistakes. That's when you're going to get, like you said, the incomplete passes and the turnovers and stuff.
Yeah, remember last week we was playing against Phillip Walker and Will Grier. All right, these are two very mobile quarterbacks, and we were forcing them with pressure. Minnesota is not known for their scrambling quarterbacks, so a lot of these pressures should turn into sacks, and I do agree with that, or at least quarterback hits. So let's make sure that guys like Kwity Paye, right? guys like Ben Banigou, right, who's had an absolute outstanding training camp. We'll see what he could do in this game. Let's see how that works out. Grover's the most underrated defensive line. Yeah, on the defensive line, he is the most underrated player. And I've been saying that for a while, right? When he lost weight to make himself a little bit quicker off the snap, he became a dominant force, even more of a dominant force for the defensive line. Now it's not just about eating blocks. He can actually get around blocks and cause havoc in the backfield by getting behind the line a little bit. So, On the Rise Colts podcast 2.0, what up? Appreciate you. I want to see the defense just do what they do in practice and training camp. And also love the content. I'm just starting YouTube myself. All right, man. Well, good luck with your YouTube show, man. I appreciate you being here. And then we got a Chiefs fan, I think it is, right? No Past Jim, aren't you a Chiefs fan? Says go Vikings. It's all good. But yeah, another thing I want to see is Bobby Okereke. I gotta see him being able to play downhill and shedding blocks in the run game. Okay, that's something that he needed to be practicing on all off season, because that's going to be so important now that he's the Mike. You know, because that's the Mike's main job, is stopping the run up the gut. All right, and he was kept because he's a little bit quicker and a little bit longer arm than Anthony Walker Jr. when it comes to pass pro, but or pass defense. But he really didn't show his run stopping ability. He was kind of behind the curve on his run stopping ability, and to be a Mike, that is very, very, very important. So I got to see that.
Yeah, I agree. And for me personally, I want to see Rock. I mean, Jefferson's not playing today. We already know that. So I want to see Rock go out there and just not. Just Rock. Just don't let him catch anything, dude. I'm telling you what, my guy. He has put in a couple. He's had a very good, solid training camp. So I just want to see that apply to game action. You know what I mean? I want to see him be able to, just get out there and like I said, put down that no-fly zone. Sit there and, and show what you've been showing at camp for the last couple of years, quite honestly. We'll see you put it in game film. And just do what we know you got in it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But remember, Justin Jefferson's not the only wide receiver out there. You got Adam Thielen out there. He's a really good receiver. And when this dude's healthy, Dede Westbrook. Dede Westbrook is a good receiver when he's healthy. Now, the problem with Dede is he was oft injured, for Jacksonville. Mm-hmm. But he's actually pretty good. Chad Beebe is a burner. Maybe you've heard of his dad, Don Beebe. Used to play for Buffalo, was a return guy, and he also was a gunner. Yeah, he inherited his dad's speed. I'm telling you. Okay, but don't forget. They've got running backs galore over there in Minnesota. So you can't forget about Alexander Madison. Who played very, very well. You'll probably see him mixed in with, of course, Dalvin Cook. The front seven's got their work cut out for them, because they've got Irv Smith Jr. at tight end as well, and I think he's a guy that's really going to step up now that their former number one tight end has left the building, so to speak. Now I think Irv this is his chance to really shine as that number one tight end for the Vikings. So the Colts really do have a lot of work cut out for them on the defensive side, because this is a very, very talented offensive roster for the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah,
and that's awesome, because that's what honestly, that's if we're going to have of our three games, this is the team that I wanted to have this week. Okay, because next week, I can't imagine that they're going to get a lot of action from the starters and stuff. So we really want to get a good gauge of where we're at. This week is going to be maybe our only chance to really get to see that in action. And like you said, this isn't a team that, I mean, they had a bad year last year. They had a really bad start, but I mean, as the year progressed, they even started getting their rhythm and stuff, but it was just too much to overcome, I think, with the bad start that they had. But like you said, they are talented at all levels. So it's going to be a great challenge for the defense, but one that I think our defense is going to be able to rise to and present itself very well.
Yep. What's up, Just Plain folks? He says it's starting to feel a lot like football out there with Kwity Paye debuting, and we've got a quarterback duel going up for the backup and the offensive line backups. Can they hold under the pressure? Gary Thompson's in here. Appreciate you being in here as well. He says he thinks that Des Patman's going to make things difficult for the coaches. I assume he's talking about that sixth wide receiver spot because he really showed up on week 1. Do you think that we'll see much of Patman in this game, or do you think you might end up seeing more of other players?
Honestly, I think that Patman, yes, he had a good game, but yeah, I mean his training camp was sort of silent. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I can't imagine coaches are like, oh, we've seen him. So I would have to imagine he's probably going to get a lot of run with Jacob. And there's another guy, Jacob likes those bigger targets, you know what I mean? So yeah, he's got a great opportunity, and I'm all for that. I want Chris Ballard to sit there and I want to see after next week's game, I want him to go in and just have to really stress over what the 53 is going to be. And knowing that, he did the best he could, because I'll tell you right now, he gave them the tools to build it with 90. And I think that the guys have really stepped up and like I said, I think we could easily cut this down to a 65-man roster and still be like, any of these guys could be out on that field, starting out. So I'm very pleased with the roster that, that he's put together. And like you said, I think that there's a lot. I mean, Tariq Black, Tyler Vaughn, they both flashed real nicely last week. Can they do it again? And for me personally, I think it's more apt for them to do better this week than last week, just because, like we've stated multiple times, Jacob has such a livelier arm. I think their opportunities, if the coaches call it that way, will be more often and probably better opportunities.
Excuse me. Big CB in here. What's up? Appreciate you being in here. It says, as a true Colts fan, I just want to see us reach the potential for once. I mean, even with Peyton, we could have been much better, and that's true. I mean, during the regular season, the Indianapolis Colts with Peyton Manning were like the unstoppable force, right? Like but when they got into the postseason, they come against immovable objects like Pittsburgh, like New England, like the Chargers, right? And just certain defenses kind of had Peyton's number at times. As of late for the Indianapolis Colts, I think one of the things that have really rocked them reaching potential is injury issues. I think injuries have really hampered the Indianapolis Colts over the last 3, 4, 5 years. Keeping
especially at key positions such as our quarterback. I mean, it's hard to build. It's hard to hit that potential whenever you don't know who's going to be running the show on the field. Year in and year out.
Well, it's not just the quarterback. I mean, if it's not the quarterback, then it's a running back and a wide receiver, or something like that. Your starters out there. And, man, we really need to see some health this year. And I really hope that we do. Last year, the NFL as a whole just got hammered. Not just with COVID, but with injuries in and of itself, right? Like the Niners. I mean, good Lord, they had 75% of their team injured. And most of those were starters. So the Colts, obviously saw their fair share of injuries as well, with a bunch of starters going down with all kind of things, like Marlon Mack, went down. Malik Hooker went down. My boy Paris Campbell, he went down with injury. These are all starters that we were expecting would have a decent season and produce for the Colts. And, it is what it is. I do agree with you, Tim T, I'd like to see Kylan just not drop a ball, right? Not just drop a ball, but that first practice back after that game Sunday when he the ball got ripped out of his arms, every time he caught the ball, it was two hands, right? Covering the heck out of that football every time. I expect to see that today, and hopefully no drops, because that's, I know that the Colts have been kind of needing someone of his skill set, but it seems like every time we get someone with his skill set, they have drop issues. First, Eric Ebron, we go grab him. He had drop issues, right? And then last year, we went out and got Trey Burton. He had drop issues. So, Kylan, come on, my guy. Let's get that cleaned up. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. He said it was only 1 or 2 games. Hey, man, you've had your one game last weekend. So, like he said, let's show that we can grow from that. And because once he gets the ball in his hands, he's got extraordinary vision. He's got good speed. Once he gets that ball in his hands, he can be a dynamic playmaker, I think. But it's just, you gotta make the catch before you can do anything else.
Yep. I agree 100%. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been going on for about 42 minutes now. I think I'm going to have to kill it here shortly because I'm going to be joining Bring the Juice here in about 15 minutes, and I'm going to need to do a couple things before I do that. So it's a great live stream going over the game. Do you have, really doing predictions for a preseason game is about as dumb as trying to figure out how many kittens pregnant cat's about to have. You just don't know. It could go any direction. So I'm not going to go with predictions or anything like that. But what do you think the outcome of do you think the Colts have a good shot at seeing what they need to see tonight?
Yes, because like we said, okay, Minnesota's got a dynamic offense. Okay, we need to see our pass rush. I think with Kirk Cousins, if he's starting out today, we're going to get to see, can the pass rush get there, like we said. Me personally, it's important to me. I want to see Marlon Mack. I want to see him just get out there and get some carries, and just because even though he was out there last week against the 2s and 3s, he just didn't have a whole lot of productivity. I've even is fine to the point of, keep JT sitting on the bench. Save him until week 1 regular season. But Marlon Mack, I want to see after he gets a little, a little, what do you want to call it, runs on those legs and stuff. See how he feels in quarter 2. And see how he feels after he's actually been out there in the thick of, some plays. Yeah. And I hope the coaches don't just sit there and have, Sam Ellinger just dinking and dunking to the running backs. I hope that they let the kid try to air it out a little bit, even though it's against the 1s and 2s, and let's see, how serviceable is that arm of his? You know what I mean? Because quite honestly, he does good with the intermediate and short stuff. Outside of a couple, exciting plays at the end of the game last week, we really haven't seen a lot of down the field with him.
Yeah, well, outside those 2 plays. Jerry M., I'm assuming you're a Vikings fan. Thanks for joining in. Asks where he can see the game. Please help. We talked about this earlier. Game Pass. There's a 1-week free trial, and this year you can watch any preseason game live with Game Pass on NFL.com. You just go to NFL.com, sign up for that 7-day free trial, and then make sure you kill it before it charges you $100 at the end of that. So. That's the best way I know how. But guys, everybody, thanks for joining. Really liked kind of breaking down this game for tonight. Good luck to both the Colts and the Vikings because it's preseason. The win doesn't matter. What we need to see is certain players and how things react. So while you're here, please don't forget, smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, tag that notification bell so that you're notified next time I go live. And until next time, I'm
Hang
Lawrence
on, hang
Owen.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, hang on, man. I just want to be on record and stuff to sit there and say, dude, I am so stoked for you in this Believe in podcast. I mean, think about it. You know, you're getting to sit there with DeQuell Jackson and bounce ideas and stuff, man. I mean, I know how much work you put in. And guys, I know, I mean, the Patreon people, they know. You know, I mean, we've seen how much time and effort you put into this. And I just want to tell you, congratulations, man, and good luck.
Well, thank you, and I'm really excited. We'll start on Monday is when me and DeQuell will get together, so and get this started up. But until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. That's Loyalist, and as usual, have a good one.